video, another live video of myself and a special guest today. I'm joined by the one and only Angus of Fairbairn, all the way from Perth. Tuning in, Angus, thanks for being here, mate.
Yeah, pleasure, brother. What's going on YouTube? Angus here, and a huge welcome back to the channel. Super stoked you're here. And welcome to episode 1 of a 4-part FCK Dieting Series. That's basically come about from me being featured in a awesome podcast / live interview for a health and wellness company over in Sydney, run by David Mifsud, who runs a company called The Body Shapers, which is awesome. He's on a mission to be able to help basically a shit ton of women, free them from dieting, from their body image issues, and helping them to lose weight and to be able to build a better life for themselves. So I was featured and did basically a live interview / discussion with him that ended up going for probably pretty close to an hour. And because I took initiative in recording the conversation together, I thought, hey, I will be able to use what we covered to be able to break down into a series, so that way it can be available to add value to all of you guys, my followers and viewers, to hopefully be able to add some value to your own journey. This episode 1, the focus of this is basically my backstory around dieting, so that way you can see basically what I've been through, and basically help from that end for you to be able to see where I've come from, my history around dieting, and how it's led to my values around how I help people as a nutritionist and online coach. So I hope you enjoy episode 1, and I'll catch you at the end.
Guys, today's going to be a really great video. If you're watching the replay, of course, after this, please let me know. Say hi, say watching the replay, and we'll get into it in pretty much 30 seconds. But yeah, really good to have Angus here. Angus, as I put in some of the info I've been posting about him, is extremely experienced guy in the fitness industry, not only with incredible personal transformation, but has helped hundreds of, probably even thousands, who knows by now, that you've worked with personally, and of course, taking your content across the globe. And got a really, I think, well-developed, well-rounded perspective on, getting in shape, getting results, dieting, and how to do it in a way you actually enjoy yourself, which is something that stops so many people. So it's going to be really valuable for that. I think you guys are going to really like it. Again, say hi when you get on, and if you've got any questions, comments as we go, hit us up, because it makes it more fun when we know people are tuning in and listening to questions and comments. And Angus will have some good answers, I have no doubt. I've got Leash, saying she can hear me amazingly. I've got Bell waving, beautiful. Awesome, guys. So I think the first place to start, we're wondering, who is this lovely gentleman? Dave's talked him up. Is he really everything Dave says he is? Angus, I think an awesome place to start would be a bit about your personal story. I've shared with everyone in the group a little bit about it, just to hype you up a bit. But I think your story is pretty incredible, knowing you for many, many years. Share a bit about, the old days, the old Angus, maybe, so to speak, where you started from, and you got into your own health and fitness journey, and what's transpired, how you've come from there.
Ooh. Thanks for the intro, bro. Pleasure to be here once again. So my story goes way back to the moons of the 90s / early 2000s. I got into the dieting game extremely early on, probably when I was in year 9, in terms of doing my very first diet, which back then, that was when anti-fat was a thing. So obviously, you look at now, keto's a thing, everyone's worshipping fat, and keto coffees and whatnot, whereas back then, no fat, bro, that was the way to go. So I got into the game very early. I was well over 100 in year 9, so I was getting a whole lot of bullying and whatnot, and that was my, entry into the game, if you will. But naturally, as I'm sure, you guys tuning in are probably aware that when you cut out a food group, you're only going to be met with a bad time. So my first diet didn't last too long, and the food fears and warped relationship with food started to come with it as I went through high school. Don't get me wrong, lost some weight, but then, as we all know, the more restrictive your methods are, the harder it is to keep up the maintenance of the results. So that led to on and off getting into all sorts of different things without even my parents knowing. Hey, they didn't know that I had these issues, and that that I had a problem with weight and whatnot. So I used a whole host of really extreme things to get down to a decent weight, but then kept going too far. So I actually at one point got very skinny, and still hated myself just as much as I did when I was very overweight. So that then led to me getting into competing and starting in my own business when I was in my early 20s, And I think at this stage, not long after, was when I met Davo, because that was when I was looking to go online with my business so I could help people. But what was interesting was that when I started competing, that actually got me, like, yes, I looked pretty decent, but coming out of the competitions, that was actually when binge eating became really apparent to me, and something that I was struggling with a lot coming out of competitions, but then would go back into a competition again to think that it would be what I would need to get a hold of things, which is interesting because that, when you look at it, is just, it's such flawed logic. But I guess like one spectrum of me goes way back to conventional dieting ways, and then obviously these ways, yeah, they work, but obviously when you're getting comp lean, that can magnify the pre-existing problems that you got going on if you're not careful and if you're not coached how to come out of getting ridiculously lean. So that was then when I started learning more and more about nutrition, discovered the flexible sort of approach that I teach now, and then that led to, I guess, me having deeper and deeper, I guess, transformation with myself, learning how to utilize what I was taught from getting, further help from coaches and learning from other experts in the game, taking my transformation further and further, but also my relationship with food and self-love and knowledge to new heights, and then ended up becoming a sports nutritionist a few years back as well. And basically, have just been free from, I guess, what you would call those sort of binges or rules mentality relationship to food. And have just been, I guess, what's really cool now over the past couple of years, able to maintain like what many people would think, oh, you like prepping for a comp, bro. No, I'm just maintaining. Like, I've been in that maintenance mode for about 2 and a bit years now. Haven't tracked a thing on MyFitnessPal. Strongest I've ever been, healthiest I've ever been. So it's like, me getting to where I am now, I never would have thought. But this is now obviously where I try to get people to, as a result of me coaching them, as opposed to, cool, you want to lose weight as quickly as possible? Let's go. So it's like, through my own journey, so has the approach that I take to teach people as well, bro.
For sure. It's a crazy story. It's funny way you wrap that up. For sure. It's interesting, like the similarities, because you're quite, like I said, you were pretty big in year 9, 100 kilos in year 9. Like that's solid. Year 9, you've done some damage to some kids in the playground.
Oh,
but very similar myself, struggling my weight when I was younger, and it's interesting that you said you started following dieting stuff, got lean, so competing, but that almost amplified the issues with the food. You look at someone, holding a lot of weight, that's where you assume, oh, they must struggle with their food. But sometimes the people who are the leanest struggle the most with the food, not the ones who actually hold the most weight. And you got on stage still struggling with it. So it's a really cool backstory, man. You say now that you're at a really good point. It's about we're talking about your story, and then we'll bring it back to what you teach. But it's interesting. You're at such a good point now. You don't even track things, maintain almost comp leanness. What do you think's been the couple of biggest things that's helped you get to that point? I know it's a big journey, but what's the couple of keys that you think now help you kind of maintain at that level and keep such a healthy mindset to it while staying at that level?
I think it's because with me, man, once I started learning how calories work, how thermodynamics work, how you can make food work for you in various ways, and then align your training with that accordingly, I realized, oh wow, someone doesn't have to just be trying to get shredded all the time and just chase fat loss. There's other things that you can do with food and with your training. You can use it to get stronger. You can use it to add muscle mass. You can use it to improve, thyroid metabolism function, all this sort of stuff. You can use it to get, your cycle back. You can use it to be able to, to stop fearing food. You can use it to better restore bodily function. You can use it for so many things. So I guess, as I ventured into more than just trying to get shredded, that was what I was chasing on and off my tail for so many years. I think what that did was it allowed me to see, right, cool, because there's more exciting stuff ahead outside of just trying to get, ridiculously lean. That opened me up to obviously still tracking for periods of time in terms of MyFitnessPal, but then what is really cool is that with those extended periods of time, I remember one of my streaks, bro, I had 1,300 days straight of tracking. So it's a lot of people say they hate tracking calories, and it's don't get me wrong, it gets a bit tedious after a while, but what's really cool is that when you on and off use it for different goals, because you develop such an awareness around what's in food, what you can use it for, and to achieve different body composition goals, that all starts to sink in. And then once it's sunk in, obviously you've developed a bit of a literacy, a literacy around food, around how to structure meals, around what a good meal frequency looks like for you, around what to do when, say for example, travel opportunities come and when you're in social events, and how to adjust your decisions leading up to and coming out of it, so that way then it kind of becomes second nature. And then that's where I remember I had this other guy who's in the who's a sports nutritionist like myself. He was like, bro, yes, it's cool what you've been able to achieve through tracking, but you're relying on an app. Like, what happens if the app gets taken away? You're fucked. And I was like, he's pretty much like, he's right. I'm reliant on an app. So that's when I gradually started taking it away, to see if I could still control things and like keep what was in my head and develop less reliance on it. And then that gradually led to 5 days a week tracking, 4 days a week tracking, once a week tracking to keep myself in check. And I realized, wow, I can still keep my weight the same. I can still make food decisions and stuff like that without relying on an app. And that led to what I call lifestyle lean, is my term for it, because you then can get yourself to a scenario where you're still eating similar stuff to what you might have been before, but you've found a sweet spot for how you can make it then regulate your weight without relying on an app and weighing yourself all the time, that sort of thing.
For sure. Lifestyle lean, I'm gonna use a trademark that before someone steals it, mate.
Oh, you can use it, bro. This is my term for it.
Yeah. It's interesting, almost weaning yourself off the app a little bit, but obviously a lot of times the end goal is to be able to do it without some of those restraints sort of things, like taking the training wheels off, even though for 1,300 days straight, which is, if anyone out there is finding, like, we do like a 6-week challenge at the gyms, Angus, and people will track their food for 6 weeks. If anyone out there is like, far out, there's 42 days of tracking, that just took so long. Well, Angus has got you beat by 1,260 days there. 1,300 days of tracking. That deserves a few claps in the comments.
There we go, bazinga, as the main man Sheldon says. That was episode 1 of the Fuck Dieting Series, fam. So really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and hopefully hearing some insights into my story has just inspired you and showed you what's possible. Now, for next week, you're going to be checking out episode 2. Get excited for that. Of course, if you're watching it live, it's like Game of Thrones. You got to wait for the next week's episode to come out. Otherwise, if you're watching like this in the future and the whole playlist is here, hey, jump on into episode 2 and I'll catch you there. But please, if you're new to following me in my journey, feel free to check out some of my social media links below. You'll see that I'm fairly active across Facebook and Instagram and whatnot. You can check out some of my anti-diet apparel if you want, and various insights into how I work the magic that I do. I really appreciate you being here. Please as well, if you have any questions around my story, get in touch or drop a question in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll catch you in episode 2 coming out next week. And big love and thanks for watching. Peace.